Yeah.
So we've got wide receivers coach, Coach Josh Crawford. We'll open it right for questions, just like we've been doing. If you could please introduce yourself so Coach can put names with faces.
Hey, I'm Kelly Quinlan. I cover Georgia Tech for Rivals.
How you doing, man?
I just asked the same thing I asked the other two guys. Just kind of how did you end up here, and kind of what are your connections like with the staff?
Well, first and foremost, very excited and very grateful to be here. Place I was at the last 2 years, you know, we had a really good run. We were able to do some really good things. Prior to coming here, I didn't have a relationship with Coach Key, and you know, he reached out, and you know, we had some conversations, and it was very evident very quickly that we were on the same page in a lot of areas. And you know, as we had conversations, you know, things moved along, and fortunately for me, it ended up with me being here, and I'm very grateful to Coach and very excited to be here.
Rod McKenzie with 247 Sports. When fans talk about the different positions on the team, I guess the wide receiver position is one of the first ones they talk about, you know, as far as competition, that type of thing. What do you see in there with your group?
Well, first of all, really excited about this group that I have as a coach. I talk about having the cheetah and the gazelle mentality, and basically what that essentially means is every day when these guys come into the building, hey, their feet better be running, right? So, you know, if you're that gazelle that's out front running, there's a cheetah right behind you ready to get you. You know what I mean? If you come to practice and maybe you're not sharp that day, your eyes are not where they should be, you're somewhere you're not supposed to be, and you don't bring your A game, hey, there's somebody right there behind you that's ready to get you. And so, although at the end of the day, we're a brotherhood, you know, I want those guys to be teammates, but at the end of the day, they know that they're competing, and they also know that they're pushing each other. And you know, that's one thing that I've been pleased with is, you know, these guys are learning how to practice, and you know, they're coming to practice every day trying to push each other and eventually, you know, win a spot.
Yeah, so how does your familiarity and your experience in this state help you here?
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I was very excited. You know, obviously I spent 10 years in this state coaching high school football and some really good programs, and so that allowed me to establish some really good relationships with a lot of coaches in this state, and also have an opportunity to coach a lot of good players. And so from coaching in the state, that helped me from a relationship standpoint. And then I was very fortunate, you know, to be in some of the top programs in the state and the Southeast, which I felt like prepared me from a coaching standpoint, from a work ethic standpoint, to be able to, you know, translate, you know, at this level and do a good job. And so I'm very grateful to that. I say that all the time. I'm very grateful for my high school tenure. I think it's had a big time effect, you know, on, you know, any success that I've been able to have at this level.
Obviously, big blow losing Leo like that, and tough for him. But just kind of, what do you see from that outside receiver position? You have a lot of younger guys, and then and Abdul that came in as a transfer.
Well, first, let me just say this about Leo. Great young man. Really felt for him as a coach. That was rough, you know, when that happened for him, because he was having a great spring. He was 1,000% bought in, doing everything that you could ask him to do. I think he was excited about, you know, the future and where he was headed, and he still needs to be excited. His story hasn't been written. Leo is going to heal. He's going to come back stronger than ever, and everything that he wants to achieve is still on the table, and he will do that. Now, you know, from the standpoint, hey, we still, you know, the season is still going to come. Practice is still going to show up, and so, you know, hey, it's been said. That's what it is. It's the next man mentality. It's why, as a coach, you try to develop, you know, depth in your room. So not only are guys learning what their position is, but they're learning multiple positions. You know, for me, my philosophy is, hey, if somebody goes down, it's, well, who's the next best guy? And we're still trying to determine, you know, who those people are and where they need to go. But, you know, we've also been trying to do that, you know, build the overall depth in the room. And so I've been excited. Guys are stepping up, and, you know, they're stepping in the roles. And I think, you know, it's created opportunities, and we'll see where it all ends.
Coach Faulkner talked about looking for playmakers in the offense.
Yep.
Is Malik one of those guys that has a chance to be a playmaker?
There's no question, man. The kid is really special. He's electric. But, here's the thing, what makes him great on the field is who he is off the field. Great kid, practices hard every day, tough, just never hurt. He's always available. He can run 1,000 reps in practice and never get tired. And all of that also translates into him being a really good football player on top of that. So he's got God-given talent and ability, and then he's got those intangibles that go along with it. And so we're excited. He's a guy that has shown the ability that he can handle playing multiple positions, very savvy route runner, picks up everything, really smart player. So he's creating value for himself because, he's a good player in his own right, and he can also play multiple positions. So he's somebody I've been very pleased with.
Sorry, Gabe Burns with the AJC. Earlier you were talking about how you and Coach Key were pretty aligned and you were sharing the same views. Could you just elaborate on what some of the stuff was you guys clicked with?
Well, I think, anytime, you talk with a head coach, he's going to communicate what he's looking for. And it was just throughout that process, what he was looking for, the coach that he was looking for in this position. There was a lot of alignment just, philosophically and coaching-wise as far as standard and the things that, we want to see out of this position group and how that's going to affect not only the offense but the program. We were very aligned in that aspect. And also what stood out to me just in talking with him, he was somebody that was very big on family, and that is important to me. This is something Coach says all the time, right? Organizations are about the people. And when he went out to put this coaching staff together, I think that's what he had in mind. And so as he's talking to you, who are you as a person, right? And I think in his mind is, hey, if I get great people, the coaching part will take care of itself. And so the same way, man, for to work for a head coach that's, family oriented, and it's obvious once I got here, he stayed, true to that philosophy because I'm blessed. I mean, and not only on the offensive side of the ball, but there's great relationships with coaches on the defensive side. I mean, we got a staff that is lockstep and we all get along, and I'm as tight with some of our defensive coaches as I am with our offensive coaches, and I think that's what I mean by that alignment, just in terms of what Coach was looking for, and not only the type of coach, but the type of person, and vice versa. I'm very, very blessed to be under his leadership.
Consistency catching the ball is obviously huge at the position. Christian Leary's a guy with a ton of talent.
Yep.
That was maybe the thing holding him back at Alabama. Just what have you seen, and how do you work with that as a coach to try to create that consistency with the hands?
Well, I will say this, right? I'm not one of these coaches that has to see a guy that has to, and he was a particular player that we got out of the transfer portal. I'm not necessarily concerned with, I need to see a guy have 60 catches for 700 yards, right? And I know that may seem backwards, but I think as a coach, what you always have to try to do is to project, right? So of the body of work that he did have, what we try to do is to project, hey, if this player is given an opportunity to catch X amount of balls, could he be as productive, and again, I don't know all the factors of where he was. Now, I will tell you this, we did our due diligence on him. Both his position coach and coordinator, where he came from, were very, very, very high on him, not only as a player but as a person. And since he's been here, he's been one of the guys that has stood out making plays.
Anything else? Okay. If not, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.